Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 415 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff, eating some carrots, trying to make some stuff happen. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. You know, I'm not going to be eating carrots the whole time. It just occurred to me this is very disruptive. And I worry that you're going to get like high resolution chewing sounds because of my condenser microphone. So maybe I'll just finish this one carrot and then I'll put those away. All right, let's start by sharing my screen. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I may have planned to eat carrots during this because my lunch was kind of small, but eating might be disruptive. We'll see. I kind of know what I think. Carrot on. Nice joke, Smurf D. I kind of know what I think I want to do today, but it might not go right. It might not go correctly. We might get sidelined or sidetracked, and that's okay. You're watching me do software development live, and that means things don't always go according to plan. That's the first thing. The second thing, the agenda. We're looking at it right now, and it is available to you. And it's going to be in a different place depending on where you're watching this stream. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel information. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it's over there in the details section. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the video description. And as I update the agenda and add things to it, this little spinny will spin. And if you reload the page, you'll get the updated agenda. All right, I'm going to skip the episode guide stuff, and we're going to go right into it. Hey, today is episode 415. That means we get to talk about this Keanu Codes. I completely forgot to finish putting in the link, so we're going to have to look it up ourselves. Today's episode 415 is brought to you by HTTP error code 415. Let's look that up. Keanu Codes 415, unsupported media type. That's what the image is for here. I'm pretty sure this is from the film A Scanner Darkly by, it was originally a book by Philip K. Dick, I believe. A Scanner Darkly. Did I spell it right? Scanner Darkly. Yeah, it's a fairly interesting film, as visually, because the it's all rotoscoped, meaning that every frame was drawn over top of pre-filmed footage. So they would take a frame and they draw over top of it. So you get this really interesting kind of cell shading look. I don't think it's I don't know if it was fully hand rotoscoped, because that would take forever for a feature film. They may have used some computers. If you really care, you can read more about it probably in the production notes here in Wikipedia. Animation. All right, I'm curious enough. Filmed digitally and then animated with Rotoshop, a proprietary graphics editing program created by Bob Sabiston. He uses an animation technique called interpolated rotoscope. Okay. In traditional cell animation, it originally involved tracing over film frame by frame. So they used software. It uses vector keyframes and interpolates the in-between frames automatically. Okay, so they didn't have humans drawing over the frames. They did it themselves, or they did it with a robot. They did it with good old-fashioned software. Okay, so let's look at the status code 415. Unsupported media type. So this is an error response that indicates that the server refused to accept the request because the message content format is not supported. So the format problem might be due to the request's indicated content type or content encoding, or as a result of processing the request message content. Some servers may be strict about the expected content type of request. For example, sending UTF-8 without the dash instead of UTF-8 to specify the UTF-8 charset may cause the server to consider the media type invalid. So in this case, for example, we're posting to this endpoint. We're sending this JSON blob. The content type header is missing here. And the server, if it's really strict and it expects a content type, it may send unsupported media type back. And in this case, we're sending a content type of, well, in this case, X www form URL encoded. And that's incorrect, and it's gonna the content is in the request body instead. That's right, like it's here rather than like in the sort of base 64 encoded blobs that you'd expect from a form URL encoded. I think that's what form URL encoded is. Let me just double check. Form URL encoded. Oh, I'm thinking of multi-part form data. What's form URL encoded? The keys and values are encoded in key value tuples separated by ampersand. I see. So it's encoded incorrectly here because it's expecting it to be sort of ampersand URL encoded. Got it. And so yeah, unsupported media type. And it says, hey, you should have tried application JSON in UTF-8 instead. So if you're writing a client who handles the 415 unsupported media type, this is an option to try again. Right here, it's telling you what it accepts. So there you go. Whoop, there's Wacky Morning DJ. That's today's HTTP error code 415. In other news, let's quickly talk about NewTab, because like today is all about NewTab. If you're in the United States, you should hopefully soon see this layout, what we call the sections layout in NewTab. If you're in the chat and you're already seeing it, let me know. And this is something we started rolling out to the release population yesterday. And we will be, slowly enrolling everybody in the United States and hopefully worldwide not long after. But you get these like nice broken down sections for pocket stories, which I don't know how you feel about them, and maybe I'm biased because I work on this team, but I actually find these very interesting. Like, I think the content team does a fairly good job of finding interesting things. And now it's broken out by topic. So, for example, if you're like me and you care more about science than, say, I don't know, food, or there are other sections that you can add here. You can add like, I don't know, gaming or sports, and I care less about those things, so I can like put those away. But I can pick and choose the stuff that I want. And that is kind of, that is the name of the game with NewTab these days, is we're trying to make it so that users can tune it to whatever they want. It's been a long road to get here, like we want this thing to become more customizable. One of the recurring pieces of feedback we get from users when we do user research is they want it to be more relevant to them. They want the stuff that is shown here particularly to be more relevant. So we need people to be able to both express what they are interested in like a variety of ways, like these are the topics I care about, and like thumbs up, thumbs down. But also in future, we're going to be looking at doing privacy preserving ways of inferring your interest based on how you interact with stories on NewTab. And to be clear, that does not include your browsing activity outside of NewTab. That's out of bounds. But interactions, like if I'm clicking on a lot of science stories or a lot of politics stories, then those sections might kind of bubble up to the top on you, because it's, and like enter into the popular today for you, because you seem to be interested in those things. So we're looking at that. Oh, see, I'm eating a carrot again. Widgets. What's up, Doc? You can now turn on widgets. If you're on nightly or beta, you can go into labs, and in a productivity section, there's this lists and timer on Firefox Home that you can turn on. If you'd like, you don't have to have them on, but if you want, you can have those on. And then in the customized panel, you can like individually turn on the parts that you like. Like if I just want the timer, I can turn off the to-do list. And we're just getting started on these things, but let's try it. Let's add ourselves a focus timer. We're going to be focused, or let's use the to-do list. And there's a to-do list. We're going to call this list train hop tool. And we're going to manage that list, because that's what we're going to be working on today. Oh, I also want to mention there's a new release that went out today, 142.0.1. Notes 142.0.1. And this fixes a number of things. Some people were finding, this is this is an unfortunate thing when you have so many different states of the browser, especially now that we have like vertical tabs. Like vertical tabs is great, but it also means now you've split your testing audience into like a bunch of people who prefer and only use vertical tabs and a bunch of people who only prefer and use horizontal tabs. And so the nightly and beta populations, the number of people testing the different variations, you've kind of diluted it a little bit, or you've like bifurcated it, you've partitioned it. And so, there were a number of things that went out in 142 that were kind of unfortunate, that only affect people in the horizontal tabs mode. And me, like I didn't notice them at all because I'm a vertical tabs person now. I'm a vertical tabs convert. But people reported them. And that's great. We were, not thrilled that people were experiencing it, but they were very helpful in helping us sort of figure out what we needed to in order to fix it. And so a fix went out today. So if you've been suffering from this particular problem where suddenly your tab strip stops behaving, maybe a tab glitches out, or the toolbar stops being responsive, update to 142.0.1. We think that'll fix it. All right. So, I actually started writing the tool that we started planning last week. Did you watch last week's episode? We started doing all this like kind of planning and thinking and just sort of like exploration about writing a tool for assessing the viability of performing a train hop. And then late last week, I started like writing the tool in earnest. I just kind of like got it started. And originally it was going to just be a flat out web page. I was going to have this be just a web page. I would host it on GitHub. There's no server component, a static web page that makes a bunch of requests and does like, I don't know, uses IndexedDB for caching or something. That was my original plan, but I ran into an issue. One of the things we need to be able to do is we need to convert Git SHAs into Mercurial SHAs. This is a tool that Lando provides. Here, I had heard about it. We can send a request, a GET request to this point, and you can send it, add a GET hash, and it should give you back the Mercurial hash. That's great. However, the CORS headers do not allow applications outside of the Moz Tools, I think, the Moz Tools host name, to use this API. So I actually couldn't call it from just any old web page. I couldn't just make a request there. And so that's a bummer. I was really excited to have this be a normal web page. And so I thought, oh shoot, do I have to go talk to the Lando people and be like, hey, can you like open this up a little bit? Maybe we can add GitHub. But I came up with an alternative solution that may be temporary. Maybe I'll still have that conversation with them. But you can make requests and bypass CORS altogether if you're a web extension. If you're a web extension, you can do a lot more stuff. So I started building this as a web extension instead. So I converted it. I have an instance of it here. And I'm calling it new tab train hop station for now. And you can see, if I go to about debugging, and we inspect this thing, you can see that it's making requests, and it makes a request. I don't think it needs to make the request to the Git Mercurial thing anymore because it cached it. Because that's always something that you can rely on. That's never going to change on you. But if we supplied it a different SHA, we'd see let's supply it a different one. Let's go to github.com, Mozilla, Firefox. Let's apply it a different GitHub SHA or Git SHA. Let's give it this one. Is there a and we'll see if the request goes out. Yes, it went right there. and we came back and we got our actual response here. We get our get SHA. Now there's no push data for that one because that's probably in the middle of a push, that revision. And so, you know, you got to be careful about what you're passing to this tool. You have to pass it like what was at the head of a I'm just thinking now, actually, that some users might supply a mercurial SHA. We might need to be able to toggle between them. Be like, I'm supplying the mercurial SHA here. And then we have to do like the reverse git lookup. So we might want like a checkbox here to let the user choose which one they're supplying. A checkbox or more likely a radio. And then, okay, let's do that first now that I think about it. Okay, so here's the code. I'm using lit for the UI. Let me pump up the font a little bit. And let's hack in our, this isn't meant to be like an amazingly well architected tool, just something that I can easily make changes to. That's what's important for me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a radio down below the input. Input type equals radio. Name equals using get SHA. Value, or no, not using get SHA. It'd be SHA type. Value equals get. Use GitHub SHA. And then the one after it will be type value is HG, use mercurial SHA. So what does that look like? Not exactly what I had in mind. So I kind of want this to be a field set that's like horizontally spaced. Field set. And I'll call this ID equals SHA type folder. And so, and then Git, I'm gonna have that one be checked by default, I guess. And then let's inspect. Let's see what we can make this look like. So I see. This is because of some CSS I've got in here for inputs. It's auto expanded the width, which isn't exactly what I want here. My input rule is a little too it's a little too extreme. So we're gonna change the rule here. Input type equals text. That's more like it. And now I'm going to get rid of the border. Let's border 0. Padding 0. Margin 0. Okay. And I think what I'll do, font size 0.7 EM, 9 EM, 6 EM, no, 8 EM. And then let's see, vertical align middle, center. It's more like I want this to be like display, flex, align items, center. No. It's justify, align content, center. There's a way to like vertical alignment. I want flexbox. That's exactly right. I want that flexbox. I have to remember how to get this thing aligned properly. Oh, you know what? Our inputs. So here, let me copy these for now. SHA type holder. And I can't remember if it's aligned content center. Flex within the where there's extra trace in the cross axis. So maybe we'll have to look at it. The other thing I want to do is I want to change the spacing around the input. The actual radios have too much margin around them at the top. So I'm going to change the margin block 0. Input type equals radio. Okay. Is that not quite? Are those align items center, bottom, top, start? That, yeah, okay, start, end, center. So really I do want center. Line items center, and then I want now maybe to increase the margin. So margin block, let's say, what are we using above? Margin 5, okay. Margin block 5px. Okay, and then in between these two items, margin, so let's say not quite what I had in mind. Not the inputs. Inputs. I want the margin block, margin inline start. What does that look like? And only on not the first one. Not nth, not nth child 1, something like that. There you go. So I can make that really big if I want. Yeah, okay. Let's do 15 for now. Okay, and then I'm going to want it to, when this changes, I want the placeholder to change. So really, that's the sort of thing that, and I actually think that the Git one might, or the Mercurial one might be more common, now that I think about it. So I'm going to say properties, SHA type string. const SHA type get equals 1 const SHA type material equals 2. Or maybe I'll say HG. That's what I'll do. Doesn't matter. SHA type, and then the type will be number. So by default, this dot SHA type, we're going to have it be SHA type HG. And then here we'll say lit radio checked. Checked, that's the one. Okay. Checked equals, and then this dot SHA type equals SHA type HG. And then this one, SHA type get. One moment. One moment, please. Okay, let's see. Go back here. Okay, broken. Broken because missing property. Missing property. What you're talking about, Willis? What property are you missing? Oh. There we go. Okay, and so when the SHA type changes, I need to update revision SHA, enter, and here I'm going to change this to be this dot SHA type equals SHA material, otherwise get SHAD type, no, SHA type. And then we want, whenever this changes, on change, change, input. Okay, lit element, change, input. Change, at change. Equals, and then how do we do it elsewhere? This this dot on change SHA type. On change SHA type, this lit radio value. I want to get like the value of it. So in in a way, I almost want like a reference, lit reference, DOM reference. You want like query selector. I have to remember how radio input works. Script. How do you read the input type of a radio? JavaScript radio input. It's been a while since I've used these. So it's really going to make me iterate through them. Instead, what I'll do is I will query this.shadow root query selector SHA type holder radio checked. Let checked radio. This.SHA value. I'm gonna put value here is SHA type. Where's Mercurial? This is SHA type get. This SHA type equals checked radio dot value. Let's see now what happens. Undeclared SHA. Oh yeah. Oh, that does look like shat, which is not so good. Checked radio is null. Can't access property value. Checked radio is null. SHA type holder. Oh, input type equals radio. Checked radio is null. SHA type input type equals radio. On change SHA type. If checked radio. This may be too early on. It doesn't exist. Okay. Now are we... Oh, where's my debugger? Calling it. Change. Change isn't being called. Change isn't the right one? Should absolutely be. Add event listener change. E. What did I miss? Change is only... That one does fire it, so why doesn't At change, you're setting event listener with a non-callable type. At change. Oh, I give it the function reference. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we can get rid of that. And so what's going on here? Why actually put that breakpoint back? What's going on here? SHA type is the value now. This dot SHA type. HG. That shouldn't be correct. Checked radio. Dot value. HG. Okay, and then if I do this one, checked radio. HG again. What? What? Why is HG still? Did I get? This dot shadow root query selector all input type equals radio. The HG one is still checked. So then how come when I continue and I do that again, it's still the HG one that's checked? So like whenever I change this state, is the DOM not changing the checked state? It isn't. I clearly don't know how to use radios. Set default. Radio input default checked. Maybe, okay, so maybe if you use gap, do you have the same name? If you don't set one as default, does that change things? They do have the same name, SHA type. What's going on here? Checked equals checked. Just convention assigned checked most don't have any special meaning. If you don't aim for HTML conformance, you can simplify this code. Yeah, that's what I did. Checked equals so, oh, maybe instead of this, I should be looking for this. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. It's not the checked attribute afterwards. That's a little broken, but okay. Now someone mentioned the gap. A gap rather than using this fancy schmancy margin block. So let's take a look. So if I say gap on this to be 15 pixels, not quite. because I just want the gap to be between here and here. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now. But there we go. I got my thing working. That's what I wanted. Okay. So now that that's settled, I'm going to add some documentation here. Handles text input changes. All right, handles input changes. Handles input changes for the SHA type radio fields. And this is the change event. But it actually doesn't take the event. It doesn't do anything with it. So maybe we should though, because maybe I can go e dot SHA type equals e dot target dot value. I wonder if that's, whoa, where's that? That's some kind of grid, disable grid tool. How? Oh boy. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. That's what I wanted. So that's simpler. I like simple. All right. Well, that was a journey. That's a journey for sure. So now, whenever we make the request, we're gonna resolve the SHA. Resolve SHA, and then we're gonna pass not just the SHA, we're gonna pass the type. Get latest. So if you pass in the Mercurial one, that's great, but we should go and get the Git one anyways. And then we'll just normalize our operations after that. If you start with the Git one, we'll go get the Mercurial one, which we need. If you start with the Mercurial one, we'll go get the Git one. No matter what, we should always have both. So resolve SHA. This, if there's something there, we'll validate the SHA. Validate the SHA. The background script, what it does is it checks that the GitHub repo has it. So the SHA that's being validated, it's expecting it to be the Git one. So what we should do in the event that resolve, we're going to say this. We're going to say git SHA hg SHA equals this dot resolve SHA. Like this. Thank God we aren't taking, yeah, take a drink every time I say SHA. SHA. If we've been given a Mercurial SHA, convert this to a GitHub SHA. Git SHA. GitHub SHA first. If this dot SHA type equals SHA type hg. Then we will get SHA. Get SHA. SHA to check equals this SHA.trim. HG SHA equals SHA to check. And then SHA to check equals response dot data dot if response dot data dot success check equals response dot data dot if response dot success response dot data dot get SHA. Else console. All right, we'll throw an error. And then we pass this along to here. So we need to implement that now. Get the get SHA. So it's the opposite of HG SHA. We're gonna go get SHA. HG SHA success true. Data. HG SHA. Converts a mercurial SHA to get SHA using the Lando. Promise HG SHA the mercurial commit SHA to convert the corresponding get SHA. And then so this is get SHA, and this is HG to get. HG SHA. Fetch from Lando. Lando get to HG. We're going to do the other one now. Lando HG to get. Get to HG. Failed to convert mercurial to get. HG. Now the response, I'm going to assume is going to be get hash. And that'll be the SHA. All right. So do that. The HG SHA goes in, the SHA to check becomes this. So no matter what, this will be SHA to check. Provided get SHA exists. We've now normalized SHA to check to be a get. Okay, so let's now try supplying a mercurial SHA to our tool. So tree herder, whoops, tree herder. Let's grab, let's grab this one, the most recent merge to central. Let's grab this one. And we'll open up our network inspector here. Git SHA. Nice. A582. Oh, that's interesting. The Git SHA that came back. What? Okay, yeah, A582 and it comes back. No, that's wrong. The Git SHA is wrong here. Failed to validate SHA-422. So I supplied it with this Mercurial SHA, which is A58, and it is claiming. Now I did get back a Git hash of 393, so I must have gotten my plumbing wrong. During development, it'll also be helpful if I can disable caching or flush the cache somehow. Do I have caches in here? Extension storage, yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to, that looks right. Those mappings look right. 393 to A58. 393 to A58, yeah. A58, 393. Yeah, that looks right. So we stored it correctly. And then what do we return back? Check. Undefined. What the heck? Check. It's debugger time. Response. Oh, that's why. It's just response.data. Okay. Response. Data is just the Git SHA. Okay, I forgot that that's what we did. Okay. Git SHA, it's still wrong. It's still wrong. SHA to check 393, yes. And we validate it. Which is the appropriate Git version of this. Commits 393 right there. Yeah, send message. What do we get back? Response. Success. Success. Okay, so we validated it. Oh. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So, hang on. That's why we haven't fixed up this part yet. So we've normalized this stuff here. If no shell is provided, populate the input with the fetched SHA. Then we're going going to attempt to get the push data. So if nothing was provided, what are we doing here? Do we do this right? If else, get the latest. Get latest. The other thing we should do is this dot SHA type equals SHA type get. If we get the latest. So now, go back over here. Undefined. Okay. True. Response data. So what do we have here? Get SHA, HG SHA. Oh, result. That's what's up. We have to then get latest. So that's get SHA, and then we need to get the HG. Equals this dot get HG SHA. And if response dot success. Not response dot success, throw new error. Error. Otherwise, response is already a const. Get latest SHA response. Okay, so now, still no good. Get latest here. Success. SHA type is get SHA. Mercurial. If. Oh, shoot. That's a promise. That's a promise. Oh, wait. Oh, response error. If get HG SHA. Oh, it'll just throw on its own. Okay, so I don't. There's none of that. SHA equals that. Okay. There we go. Holy cow, that took too long. And now if I supply the Mercurial SHA instead, it's backwards. Why? Why? Response data is 393. Then we're going to validate it. Validate it. Success. So resolve SHA is not returning in the case of not supplying. Okay, return await, get latest SHA. Oh. Here, validate. Right. Validate. Const get SHA equals SHA to check. And here where we would do the other lookup. Await, validate. Validated. Validate. Right. I guess it's only truly important if okay. That works. Let's supply the Mercurial one. Great. Great. Now let's supply the Git one. Great. Now let's confuse it and supply the wrong one. No good. Yes. Okay. And the other way around. That should confuse it. Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 All right. I'm happy about that. So now we can supply both. And now we need to actually get some interesting information now that we have both. I want to go get the train hop jobs. So, not, I think, I had added some stuff here. Train hop jobs, they're not there yet. And it sounds like they're not always there, which is a pain. So the thing I think I'm not gonna deal with the jobs yet. Let's work on the Fluent part. Let's go get the Fluent locales report. Fluent. So what I need to do is I need to get the this stuff, get revision data. I haven't called that yet. This is something I was working on before. So we get those bits and pieces. Get revision data. Who calls that? So if I supply get revision data, get push data, const revision data goes, oh wait, this dot get revision data. Get revision data requires what? The get SHA. Those can probably be done in parallel rather than serial. Gets data about the selected revision from the GitHub repository. Specifically information about the state of the new tab.ftl fluent files. We're going to supply the git commit SHA for this. The fluent file information to flesh that out. Get revision data and get SHA, and then the can I just do that? And then I'd like to log it. Okay, let's see what happens. Files are in sync. That's interesting. Locales report. And here's the content of the report. Decoded content. Right, I actually need to get the serialize the object. So I don't want just, I want the decoded content. I want to JSON parse it. Decoded content. Let's report. I don't think it's important that I get these back. I think that's a leftover. Push data. Oh. I started to like combine it all together. I see. I was going to do it all at once. Right. I was going to already do it in parallel. Won't even let me unfold that. Come on. Get revision data. Here, get GitHub file. Exclude FTL. I want the locales report. Report JSON parse locales report decoded content. So what I get should be, oh, error. Push data is not defined. Push data. Push data is not defined. Oh, it's from the UI, but the locales report. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. The thing it's complaining about is push data. It's here. Results. Okay. So far so good. And I've got the locales report. Are the files in sync? I'm really curious about that because like I feel like I think that's wrong. I think we've added more strings. So these are the two to compare. Log. We updated the locales back in July 30th, and these were updated on August 21st. So there's no way those are actually still in sync. Okay, so that's just flat out wrong, and we need to figure out why. Compare the new tab FTL files. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So new tab FTL, last modified. Undefined. New tab FTL. What do they have? Commit. So this whole structure is wrong. What am I doing? Does it give me the date? Type. Did I have the API wrong? I need the last modified date. Yeah, it's not in there. GitHub API last modified date of file. Or can I find what the commit date was? The last commit. Commits, Gradle, path. Strike from this recent commit. I don't have a bearer token. But if I do that, what do I get back? If I just do that on my own, that works. So if I go repos, Mozilla, Firefox commits path, and I'll go browser 2F extensions 2F new tab 2F WebEx glue 2F locales 2F enus 2F browser 2F new tab.ftl. Will that supply the information I need? Is that the right path? Let me look. Background. Browser. Extensions. New tab. WebEx glue locales. enus. It's like, here, can I just, let's just URL encode this. Okay. Path equals that. There we go. It'll get the commit and we'll get the date. Haha, yes it will. Okay, so that's what I need to do. I don't need to get the actual file, I just need to get the dates. GitHub file info. Well, hold on. Can I also get the content? URL, parents. do I want? Yeah, okay. Get the file info and then get the file. So that's different than the getting GitHub file. So GitHub file info fetches file information as opposed to the file contents for a specific commit. Oh boy. Now, actually, hold on. Can I supply... Can I supply the SHA? That's important. What's it? Ref equals... Now what if I give it a different ref? Let's give it this one. From June 20th. Let's give it this one. Will it understand what I mean? What do you meme? It does not. Commits. Okay. Commits. On a particular commit. Commits. Oh, I see. Commits. Maybe I supply the SHA not here. But maybe slash SHA. Date June 20th. So that's better. That's what we wanted. June 20th. Yes, okay. So that's what we want. That's the form. Okay. GitHub file info. So we're going to fetch not contents. We're going to say commits, then the SHA, then path equals, then the file path, URL encoded file path. Did we not have to URL encode the file path here? Maybe that'll happen automatically for us. And then file info. We're going to get the JSON. We're going to get the commit. Author. Return. Last modified date. Well, hold on a second here. Is that true? Like if I choose a different commit, let's choose a slightly newer commit than this. Let's choose The next child commit, which is unrelated. Do we still get June 20th? In fact, let's go forward quite a bit. Child. June 21st. Let's supply this. And what does it say? Does it still say June 20th? No, it doesn't. But for this file, oh boy. Yeah, it doesn't give me the most files. Here we go. Files. So it's not exactly what I want. Path. Get a commit. I want to like get last modify file last modified. So how are they doing it here? Commit date. So it's saying path, just the path. I want last modified at a particular moment in time. Last modified for SHA. What do I want? What do I want? Contents. File path. Repo contents. GitHub contents API for contents. The path, the ref, the owner. That's much closer to what we want. The name of the commit branch / tag. Yeah, that's what we want. Path, parameter, the repo, and the owner. So what does the request look like? Owner, repo, path, and I can add a ref. Okay, so it was actually closer. It was closer before. So not commits, but contents. Contents. Extensions. new tab.ftl. Ref equals, say this, not found. Oh, contents. Here we go. Do you have the date? Do you have the date? I have to get you. I might have to like. Content. I need the date. You fool! I need the date. The blob. This thing knows. Well, I guess it gives me the SHA, and from that I can look up. From that I can look up the date of the commit. That's what it is. So you look up the revisions for each of those two files, then you look up the commits for each of those two revisions, and those are the dates that you compare. Ugh, all right, fine. So for a file, we need to get the commit SHA. Contents. So we're going to get the GitHub file. Const file data equals await get GitHub file. Get SHA file path. And then the SHA, let me put that back actually. And then const commit data equals, and then we're going to get the commit file data.sha. So commits. Then we get dot commit dot author dot date. Okay. Commit. We'll do call response. Failed to find commit data for file SHA. Data.sha. Failed to fetch file info. And then equals commit author date. Okay. Path. I might as well just include that back again. Okay. So we get the GitHub file info for these two. And that's going to be new tab ftl info, webexglue info. And those are what we're going to compare. File infos, compare infos. And we're going to create the date from new date, new tab, FTL info, last modified date. Last modified date. All right, now let's take a look. Failed to fetch file. Locales report. New tab, we get 6775. Oh, that's the file SHA, not the commit SHA. I need the commit SHA for it. Shoot, get URL. The commit SHA. Where is that? Get URL. It's going to be in here. So that's the file SHA. What was the payload? Ask it to get the new tab information. For that, and so what it does is it goes and downloads the file for the git SHA, which happens to be 3938 E9. So it goes and gets that. And in the response, what I need is the most recent change SHA for it. The git URL. What is that? 677. Download URL. 393. Links. So it's not quite right again. So like await, what happens if I request that? Await, fetch, locales, contents. That's exactly what we just did. That's the exact same thing. All right, well, I think I'm going to stop it there. We made some forward progress, but there's a little puzzle here with the Git API. I need to figure out the most the hash or SHA of the commit of the most recent change for the file. So in a way, I almost need like file history. File history. GitHub file history API. Response. Create or update. Delete a file. Like, I want the equivalent of doing this. I want the equivalent of view file and then looking at like the history of the file. This is what I want. Commits. And then you supply a path. What happens if you do that with the API? repos. No commit found for SHA. I'll bet you there's one if you do it like that. Widget, Wayland surface. All right, I'm gonna have to poke at this a little on my own, I think, but I'll think about it. Hey, why isn't the commit SHA enough? Because the commit SHA will just tell you the one that you found for the most, basically the SHA that you supplied. And what I'm looking for is the date of the commit that most recently changed the file for the commit that we're looking at, which might not be the commit that we supplied. So for example, if I supply the most recent SHA for a change to Mozilla Central from this morning, but the file was changed in a commit from last month, I need to be able to ask it, given this SHA, what is the date of the last month? Like, find the associated file for this commit and then tell me, based on that, looking at this particular commit and looking at this file, when was it last changed? Which won't be this commit. If it hadn't been touched in that commit, it would have been the last month one. And that's the date that I want. So hopefully I don't think I explained that very well, but let me fiddle with this some more, and we'll see where we get. Hey, thanks so much for watching episode 414 of The Joy of Coding. We made some forward progress, I think. We cleaned some things up, and I think we're on our way. We've gotten to the point where we've downloaded the Fluent file, the locales report. Now we just need to figure out how we can compare the last modified dates of two particular files in on GitHub, and using the web API only. And then we're in great shape. I'm gonna call it there. Next week we'll probably continue doing this. I'm actually really excited because we might start querying the Experimenter API, and for that we'll need to use the JQ, GraphQL library that is compiled down to a WASM module. So I'll have to bring in that third-party utility, and that might be interesting. Well, okay. Well, let me know what you thought. There's a link here at the bottom of the agenda to rate this episode. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat. Feel free to let me know what you thought of the episode or what things I can do to improve it. If you've got questions, I can try and answer them. And I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Don't ignore. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. You want this one. Whoops. You want this one instead. This is the right one. This is the right one. That's the form to rate this episode, and I read everything that comes in, so let me know what you thought. And with that, I'll end it. Thanks so much again for watching episode 415 of The Joy of Coding. I've been Mike Conley, and we will see you next week with episode 416. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.